Hello, how are you? It's Tim Ives from the Scarborough Church. I hope you are well on this Wednesday, July 22nd, the middle of the summer, and it is hot here. We're thinking we might get thunderstorms later. Love the thunderstorms. Guess it's a holdover from when I was a kid. Well, maybe I was scared of thunderstorms there, but I grew up on Lake Minnetonka out there in Minnesota. And one of the fun things to do was to watch the storms come in across the lake because it was quite a quite an amazing sight. Um, so and so yeah, I like thunderstorms, but and the plants love the thunderstorms. I don't know why. Someone tried to tell me once that it was different kind of rain, but I'm not sure that's true. Anyway, I hope you are well. I hope that the length of the COVID menace is not getting you down. I hope that you're keeping safe and keeping well. We will get through this. I say that all the time. I think one thing that pandemics are like recessions, right? There isn't one that ever was that didn't end. So, not that I want to put recession and pandemic in the same sentence. Hey, this is supposed to be good news, isn't it? Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here. And what we do, we just read a little scripture. There's a little bit of music now. And we say prayers for one another. Please do let me know if you have any prayer requests. It is important always to pray for one another. That's one of the great gifts that God gave to us. So it's good to use that, especially in challenging times, especially when you want to help the people around you and help yourself and help the world. When is that not the case? And so that's a part of what we do on Wednesdays. And we do that on Sundays too. Please do share this any which way you can. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to us. Don't I sound like one of those guys? Subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll get the word out. And the word is a good word, good news. This world, of course, needs all the good news it can get. So we'll keep on doing that. So without further ado, let's get to our passage. So we're finishing out Matthew. Okay, you got to see the passage, so I'll get out of the way. Oh, there I'm going. We're finishing up Matthew, and I guess the daily readings. Now, isn't that something like I say, I guess the daily readings? Well, that just tells you that I didn't keep up with the daily readings before the virus started. But I guess the daily readings follow through each gospel and go forward. And so we've been in Matthew since March, and we've done some other stuff too, but we're getting towards the end of the story in Matthew, and I guess we'll go on to a different gospel in whenever this, whenever our daily readings end in Matthew. But this comes from a very difficult time in Jesus' life, very difficult time in the disciples' lives, a very difficult time for everybody involved. And a very sad thing is happening. Jesus is on trial, and there's really nothing to do or say at this point. There's, the die is cast. Now, I know some people out there believe that God had this plan in just this way, and in that sense, the die is cast. But also just in the way that people deal with each other and people in authority deal with those they think are criminals, and where they've gotten to in this story, it seems that there too the die is cast. So here this reading from Matthew. Even though it's bad news, it is good news. Let's remain steadfast in that, right? Not in any ways to just say, well, bad news is good news, but God God was there too, working hard to make, even though the die was cast, looking for any possibilities to move forward, I believe. Those who had arrested Jesus took him to Caiaphas the high priest, in whose house the scribes and elders had gathered. But Peter was following him at a distance, as far as the courtyard of the high priest. And going inside, he sat with the guards in order to see how this would end. Now, the chief priests and the whole council were looking for false testimony against Jesus. I think they would have taken any testimony against Jesus, so that they might put him to death. But they found none, though many false witnesses came forward. At last, two came forward and said, "This fellow said, 'I am able to destroy the temple of God and to build it in 3 days.'" The high priest stood up and said, "Have you no answer? What is it that they testify against you?" But Jesus was silent. Then the high priest said to him, "I put you under oath before the living God. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God." Jesus said to him, "You've said so. But I tell you, from now on you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of the power and coming on clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, "He's blasphemed! Why do you still need witnesses? You have now heard his blasphemy. What is your verdict?" They answered, "He deserves death." Then they spat in his face and struck him and slapped him, saying, "Prophesy to us, you Messiah. Who is it that struck you?" God bless this reading to our use. Amen. So a sad event indeed. The cards seemed stacked against him at this point. Nothing he could do or say to alter the intentions of these people. And I just want to say, what's happening now is that in religious situation, God, legitimate, but it's such a fantasy of religious thinking